How to lose fat and get into shape once and for all, permanently. Welcome back to Streetball Strategies. So this is part 2 about my video for 2022 about fat loss and how to get in shape and what no one else is discussing when it comes to weight loss, fat loss, and why you've never been able to solve that problem once and for all. It's not some kind of secret, it's not some kind of hack. It's just that the reason you haven't really heard what I'm about to tell you about from any other internet source, especially YouTube source, is because they haven't thought it through to this degree. They haven't gone this deep. They haven't actually got to the root of the problem like we're about to do. You see, I believe that the problem with going on the internet, going on YouTube and searching how to lose fat, how to get in shape, the problem with that is that the sources that you find that tell you how to do it, they don't go over what I'm about to talk about, either because it doesn't occur to them or they just don't put that much importance on it. But I believe what we're about to talk about can very well be the one missing link in how and why you have had so much problems losing fat, and why even if you have lost fat in the past, it keeps coming back. And one of the main reasons I'm making this video is because I'm simply sick and tired of how confused people are about how to do this. I'm sick and tired of internet sources, YouTubers, telling you the same thing over and over again and not getting to the heart, the root of the problem. Why don't these people understand to talk about these things? Making this video, I'm assuming that you are intelligent, you are rational, and you are reasonable. And yes, while I would like for you to be healthier, to get in better shape, mostly I just want to be able to help stop all the confusion and finally be at least the one person that I've seen on YouTube finally get to the root of this problem so that you can solve it once and for all the way I have in my past. And because you are intelligent, rational, and reasonable, I expect you to question what I'm telling you and then try to understand it, try it on yourself, see if it works. When it does, you'll finally get it. You'll finally understand. All of your internet sources, all of the YouTubers you watch, all of the personal trainers you talk to, the dietitians, the nutritionists, they all give you the same information. They say that if you want to get in shape, if you want to lose fat, you got to eat less and you got to move more. But like I said, I know that you are an intelligent, rational, reasonable person, so you already know that. You've known that for years. The problem isn't the information you're being given. The problem is that all of those sources, all of those people you talk to, all of those people you watch, all of that stuff that you read, all of that same basic information over and over again is not getting to the root of the problem. This is only part of the problem. This is only part of the problem. You know that you're overweight and out of shape. You know that in order to solve that, you have to eat less and move more. You already know that. Why don't you do that consistently? I always say, once you start asking why, once you start playing the why game, you better play it all the way through to the very end, to the very root, because if you don't do that, then you're just wasting your time. So okay, why don't you be consistent and permanently lose weight and get in shape? Inevitably, your answer will come down to something about up here. I have some kind of anxiety, I get some kind of depression, or I don't know how to do it, I don't know how to sustain it. And then I'll ask you why again, and then eventually, inevitably, you'll just come to the conclusion that it's just me. That's just who I am. I can't get past my anxiety or my depression, or I can't keep the weight off because it's just me. It's just how I am. It's just how I'm wired. And then I'll ask why again, and you'll give me the same answer, and then we'll just be in a stupid loop of you making excuses. And this is something that applies to every person, young or old, male or female, doesn't matter, universally across the board. So if the problem isn't completely here, and if only part of the problem is only partly here, the root of the problem is here. This is the root of everyone's weight loss problem, of everyone's everything problem. Here. This is the root. This is where it starts. It doesn't get any deeper than this. Here's what happens. You feel some kind of negative, uncomfortable emotion, right? You feel that you don't like it. You then think to yourself,
I don't like this feeling that I'm having. I gotta make it stop.
Problem is, you can't make it stop. You can't control your feelings in that fashion. You're not supposed to. So regardless of how hard you try, you can't make that feeling stop. Well, then you figure, because remember, you're intelligent, reasonable, rational, you think to yourself,
Well then, okay, how can I, what can I do? How can I deal with it?
the easiest way to deal with that negative, uncomfortable feeling is to then distract yourself. How do you distract yourself? You turn on stupid fictional screens playing stupid fictional stuff on it, and then you distract yourself by watching those TV shows or those movies or playing those video games, because then once you're concentrating on that fictional stuff, you are no longer fixated about that negative feeling that you were having. And while you're staring at that screen, at that fiction that has nothing to do with your life and that you don't actually enjoy, you're just sitting there, being static, not moving. And while you're sitting there, you might as well just throw empty calories into your mouth while you're doing it, because they probably have sugar in them, and that sugar will affect your hormones and make you feel better for the moment. And that's what you do. You do some version of that, and you do it over and over again in your life, and over time you get more and more out of shape because you're not moving, and you put on more and more fat because you just keep throwing in empty calories that make you feel better emotionally. So how do you solve this? What do? You deal and resolve those bad negative feelings. How do you do that? You allow yourself to feel them, experience them. Stop distracting yourself. Put the fiction away. Turn off the screens. I know it's not the same exact thing, but if you had a runny nose or you had a headache, I would tell you, well, try the best that you can to resolve it, but in the meantime, go about your day. Not sit down and watch the TV show and try to forget that you have a headache or a runny nose. I would say just go about your day and deal with it the best you can. When it comes to those negative emotions, you're just gonna have to feel them, experience them. And I'm not talking about laying down on the couch or the bed and then just wallowing in depression while you just let the negative emotions just wash over you and now you're helpless. You're not a victim, are you? You're supposed to be smart and rational and reasonable. Why would you just lay there in a depression? No, feel those emotions, go about your day. At the end of the day, you will have felt a little bit better than you did at the beginning when you started to feel that negative emotion. And then you repeat that day after day after day until you feel better. But what you don't do is you don't sit down, be still, and waste your time staring at fiction and or just wallowing in depression and not doing anything. Runny nose, headaches, it's part of life. Having bad negative feelings, anxiety, depression, it's part of life. You are not special. You are not precious. Everyone feels those emotions. Everyone experiences them. What makes you think that you're so special and precious that because you feel bad, so now you have to distract yourself because it's worse for you than it is for everybody else. So you have to sit there and watch stupid things that don't matter, or lay there and just wallow in your depression. You really think you're that special, that precious, that's how you have to live your life because it's worse for you than it is for everybody else who goes amongst their life when they have those negative emotions? So you allow yourself to feel those emotions, to experience them, and because you are smart and rational and reasonable, you will then understand that, okay, feeling that stuff sucks. It's terrible, it feels terrible, but what's the result of it? Nothing, other than because you allowed yourself to feel it and experience it and go through it and survive it, now you are better than you were before doing that. You are more evolved, you are more experienced. And thus, in the future, when similar bad, negative feelings happen to you, you'll be able to deal with them better, quicker, resolve them better, faster. They won't be such an obstacle to you in the future. You won't have to distract yourself from them. You won't have to wallow in self-pity because of them. But you can only get to that point of evolution by feeling and experiencing them and then understanding that nothing happened. It sucked while those feelings were taking place, but afterwards, after you started to feel better, you didn't have cancer, you didn't die, those feelings didn't really affect you in any real physical, tangible way. It was just emotion that came and went, and now because you experienced it, you're better for it. So that's the big secret about how to lose fat, get in shape, and do it permanently. Notice how I didn't say anything about
you need to cut back this many calories and you need to do this many hours of cardio a week.
It's because until you resolve that negative emotion and learn how to deal with it, none of that stuff is ever really gonna matter. Because you can force yourself to stick to a diet and an exercise regimen for a week or a year, and yes, you will lose some weight, but once your motivation runs out, once you stop forcing yourself to do stuff that you don't actually want to do, you'll just revert back to your current lifestyle and you'll put back all the weight and probably more, because you'll be then depressed that you got all your weight back. And again, because I'm assuming that you're intelligent, reasonable, and rational, am I fat shaming? No, I'm not fat shaming you. What I'm doing is treating you like someone who has that kind of intelligence. And here's the deal. If you're overweight, out of shape, and you just accept it and you're fine with it, so do I. I don't care. Perfectly fine with me. But if you're one of the people who keep whining and crying about trying to get in shape and lose all this fat, and you don't know how to do it, and everything's so confusing, well, stop being confused. Deal with this. Don't make the excuse about how much anxiety you have and how much depression you have and how much medication you have to take to deal with it all. Look, all of that is here within you. No one's bullying you into making these bad decisions. No one's bullying you into distracting yourself with all the fiction or wallowing in your self-pity. It's you making those decisions for you. And the way you resolve that, the way you get better, is experience those bad feelings, know what they feel like, understand that nothing bad actually happened from you having those bad feelings, and now in the future you can get better and better again and again with dealing with those bad feelings, because you've done it once, you can do it again. Eventually you'll be able to do it perfectly, and you won't have to distract yourself. You won't have to get depressed. You'll just be able to experience them, know that they suck, and go about your life in the process of doing so, you will learn how to eat less and move more in a way that you enjoy, that you can then turn into a lifestyle and then permanently solve your weight loss and being out of shape issues. Now, you can disagree, you have the right to disagree, but you're wrong and you have the right to be wrong. And when you tell me about all those extenuating circumstances and how things are more complex than I could possibly understand, what you're doing is you're making excuses and you're justifying your bad decisions and behavior. That's all you're doing. And you're wrong. You don't have to be. You can get better, but that's up to you. So thank you guys for watching. If you found this video helpful, if you think it can help you or anyone else, please share this video with those people and hit that like button, give me a thumbs up. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Now, this is not a weight loss channel, this is a basketball channel. But just like the way I talked about weight loss and how I talked about it in a way that no one else is talking about it, that's what I do with basketballs. So if you want to see more videos like that have to do with being a basketball player, being an athlete, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And to make sure that you never miss any of my future videos, make sure you hit that notification bell. So thank you guys again, and I will see you next week.